Hey guys, welcome back to Back Pocket Game Reviews. In today's video, we're gonna have props. Yeah, it's exciting, right? So, seriously though, most people are thinking about the Nintendo Switch wrong. Now, you might ask me, what do you mean they're thinking about it wrong? It's a console, it's Nintendo's console. Well, yes, that may be correct. It is a console to a degree. Let's go and look at the Switch here. This is my Switch, right? Alright. This guy is a console. Okay? Console. This is a console. Do these two look the same? Oh, well, they don't have to look the same. They're in competing markets. No, if I grab the PlayStation looks identical to this. And now the PlayStation and the Xbox have most of the same games, seeing as that their first party lineups are the only real category where they differ. They use a standard controller. Nothing really takes them too far outside of that market. This looks almost even identical to like a small little computer. I can get computers that are like this size. This, not so much. Doesn't look like that. So why are we comparing this to a console? Because it's a console handheld hybrid. Okay, well, does it look more similar to this guy? Still a little bit off. I don't have a Vita. He does actually kind of look like a Vita, so I think that would be a safer assessment. But the middle part here, just if I clip these controllers off, almost looks identical to like a tablet here. It's kind of crazy how that works. So, in case you don't know, the specs on this thing are almost identical to the specs in the NVIDIA Shield tablet. When the NVIDIA Shield tablet released, it released at $300. It did not come with these kind of controllers, but it came with, or I don't think it even came with a Shield controller. Now, I get that we are using the word, this is a console handheld hybrid. But why are we still putting the memory kind of minimum requirement as like a console? This guy doesn't need that. The Shield didn't need that, and it was the same damn thing pretty much. Crazy, right? Shield had 32 gigs of memory in it with a micro SD card port, which is pretty standard among the tablet markets. This guy even goes below that. He has 16 with a micro SD card port, which I think the micro SD has like 32 in that guy. That's my daughter's tablet. I'm just saying, so we're sitting there and we're comparing these two. Well, it's a console, therefore it's competing against the Xbox. No, not quite. I mean, the Ouya came out. Did the Ouya compete against the Xbox? Even the people who wanted one would have never told you they were the same thing. You can have two products that are similar but the same thing. Let's put it this way. If I'm the type of person who is going in and let's say I really want a Toyota Supra. Well, if I'm looking at buying a Supra, I'm not randomly going to go in and be like, no, I'm going to go with this Prius instead. They're the same product. They're competing cars. No, they're not. No, they're different categories. They're appealing to different people. Now, this is very outside the box. This is something very different than what we have seen before. But us sitting here and us hounding and whining and complaining over them putting 32 gigs of memory in is kind of petty, especially when they went so far outside of the box, so far enough that they had no idea if this thing was actually going to succeed or not. I mean, no one knew. Even this guy requires me to put an SD card in. This just requires a micro SD card. This guy requires a standard SD card. So why are we all of a sudden so upset about this? SD memory is cheap. I know a lot of you probably remember, oh, well, Nintendo should have included it. Yeah, okay. That would have upped the price on this guy. You would have paid more. I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people were pissed saying $300 was too much for the Switch. And you know what? I didn't hear that many people actually complain and bitch about the PlayStation Vita needing Vita memory. And I don't know if you know this, that stuff was stupid expensive. I think like a 64 gig back then was like $100+. I've been able to pick up a 64 gig for like $30 for the last couple years, which is actually what's in my Switch. Now I get it. A lot of you are like, well, they're going to have the same games that'll be on Xbox. And no, it's not true. I get a lot of you are like, oh, NBA came to it. Look, NBA, I'm sure will sell decently well. I'm sure someone's going to buy it. But let's be honest, it's not the Switch's main market. Here's just some of my games for the Switch. These are only my Nintendo ones. I brought the Nintendo ones out for a purpose. Now, while I might still rebuy Doom or something along those lines, let's be clear here. Those ports and remakes aren't necessarily what's going to sell this. This is going to survive and do well off of those experiences that the developers make, which third party is critical to this, but third party ports are not as critical. The Wii didn't survive off of third-party ports. It didn't survive because they brought Madden to the Wii. It didn't survive because it brought basketball to the Wii. It survived because it forced the developers to be more innovative and bring stuff over to the Wii that they didn't bring over to the Xbox or the PlayStation. See what I'm saying here? The market has to kind of swing to what this is, which I'm sure most are going to do. I'm pretty positive a lot of people are going to do it. Don't get me wrong, I am very happy to be able to play Skyrim on the go. And yes, that is a port. Now, a lot of people didn't fully understand this part either. A lot of people were like, oh, well, 2K could have easily just fit it all on the cartridge. Yes, they could have. I agree with you there. It is all on the cartridge, though. The whole game is on the cartridge. 2K's issue with why you have to have an SD card is their save file is 5 gigabytes. Just let that sink in for a second. Their save file is 5 gigabytes. If I'm not mistaken, the game itself is 22. So keep in mind, these games also aren't the same file sizes that they are on an Xbox or a PlayStation. They have different file size requirements. This game is under 5 gigs. I believe this one was like 3 if I'm not mistaken. This game was like 2.3 gigs, if I'm not mistaken. These are like guesses. I know I've heard what they all are. I'm going to be off in like the decimal area. This guy's just under 5 gigs. And this guy is 13 gigabytes. And this game is huge. This is one of the biggest open world games I've ever played. It is 13 gigabytes, and the whole thing fits on the Switch memory card, or the Switch, you know what it is. You know what I mean, the game card. So, why are we still sitting here and thinking, oh, well, they should have included this amount of memory. Oh, it's competition, is this? No, you're thinking about it wrong. You're being very narrow-minded. I'm not a Nintendo fanboy. I've ridiculed Nintendo on lots of things before. I'm telling you right now, we need to change our way of thinking, because we're punishing a company. Well, I mean, I shouldn't really say punishing, because this thing's selling well whether you dislike its 32 gigs or not. So essentially, if this thing could give you a middle finger, it would. But I'm just saying, we're being so close-minded that we're essentially holding it back. We're almost going to penalize people for being creative, because you didn't bring me the specs that I expect out of a console. Then we could have just been walking around playing our Switches like this, like, yeah, guys, don't worry, I'm beating Zelda right now. All because I wanted 1080p at 60 FPS. Now I gotta carry around my Xbox. Now, this little guy right here, this is a Raspberry Pi, by the way. It's a retro Pi. This had to take a micro SD card. This needs one. This is where it holds the operating system. This is where it holds everything. No one bitches at them. This is still considered a console now. And I get it, there's a lot of differences here. So I'm not really going to drive that point very much. I'm just driving the point that almost everything needs external storage. Like these guys. This right here this is a 16 gig micro SD card. Picked this up for like $2.50. $2.50. I get it. That's not even a big one. I think let's see what I got in my 3DS. So everyone was complaining about how the 3DS didn't need as much storage. It wasn't as necessary. Come on out of there, little guy. 16 gig. Right in my. That's got a lot of games on it too. But if Nintendo's over here squeezing their games down to a couple gigs, I mean, none of these are huge. This one's the biggest, and even it's not huge. I don't see where we're upset or where that was even a topic of conversation. So I have 64 and 32 in here. I haven't even used 10% of my memory. And I have 5 games downloaded. And I have several games on card. I think I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 games on game card. And I have about 4 games downloaded. If I haven't even used 10%, that's better than where my Xbox One was day one. Because I think I bought like 3 or 4 games for my Xbox One, and its 500 gigabytes started to chip away really quickly because it required me to upload or to download for every game. Every single one. Now, I have a, what's it called? Portable hard drive hooked up to this guy. It's a 4 terabyte hard drive. That thing was $120. I have a $30 64 gig SD card in here, and we're talking about 10% of the memory being used. I think this argument has been one of the most obnoxiously petty arguments I've ever seen. I think that Nintendo haters are ridiculous. Look, you can hate on whatever you want. By all means, be my guest. I'm not a fanboy by any means. I just personally, I liked the Switch. I liked my 3DS a lot. The Wii was alright. It was very targeted at casual individuals. And that's Nintendo's thing, is they try to bring everyone in. They want everyone to feel included in the games. They want you to be able to play games and you to be able to play the games and Rosie O'Donnell to be able to play the games. I don't know why she was the first one to pop to mind when I thought of non-gamers. It doesn't really matter. But all I'm trying to get at is don't you think that maybe we should be more accepting of when someone tries to think outside of the box? Literally, thinking outside of the box. We should be able to understand that they might have certain requirements that they might not be able to hit. I don't feel that 32 is even a bad size for internal. Sorry, but most things just give you enough storage to get you started. I have 2 hard drives inside my laptop. My laptop came with a terabyte. We're sitting here and we're arguing about storage and we're complaining and we're whining, but the company gives us an easy way to up it. We're still complaining and we're whining. They gave us a cheap way to up it. We're still complaining and whining. We need to move on. We need to get over it. I don't really find it to be that big of a deal, especially when it's only third-party games that this is happening to. Well, Nintendo should have thought. Nintendo can only think about what kind of games they're making. I'm not responsible for what kind of games everyone else is making for my system. That's on to them. If they can't figure out how to manage the storage space, again, that's on them. That's all I'm saying. It's not their job to go police every third-party developer. That's when you become smothering, and that's when you drive them away. But Nintendo has to sit there and take the one shot close to them because it's okay, because Nintendo, they didn't think about it, so it's alright that we couldn't fit all of our 5 gig save file. Who the has a 5 gig save file? If anyone should be getting ridiculed and laughed at, I'm sorry, but it should be NBA 2K. A 5 gig save file. I'm pretty sure even if I clone my Xbox One, that's not normal. It's just not normal. And I have a lot of games on there. I don't think any of them have 5 gig save file. Alright, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. I know I've been waiting a little bit to do this kind of video. I wanted to be more straight through with the ridicule of everything, but, you know, it happens. So, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a thumbs up, give that middle finger to the haters, and I'll have plenty more content coming for you soon. Stick around.